I want to let you know that I am sharing, or whatever I will be sharing, I don't know what all I will be sharing, uh, but I will be sharing all of this from a place of humanity, of letting you know, whoever is listening, that you're not alone in this journey of life. And I want to share briefly some aspects of my last year, which has been the most challenging year for me mentally. And it has been a year where you could say depression or spiritual awakening have both followed with me, where I have been challenged internally more than I could have ever imagined. And many aspects have played into this combination of internal suffering, and the way of getting out of it has been a continuous process, has been continuous process of many factors which I still am going through. And I just wanted to take this time to share this with many of you, some who are my friends, some who have been following me, some who have been part of this community. And I want to share an honest tale of the internal journey that I'm currently on. And it's a journey of seeing darkness, darkness, understanding the mind, understanding life, and most important of all, like truly believing in something beyond me, which is inside me, to help me get through all of the pain and suffering that has happened for me this year, and for, I'm sure, so many people around the world. Because, as Buddha said, this human life is suffering, and there are different levels of pain and suffering, but there is something in us that keeps us in the loop of samsara, in the loop of that suffering. We choose to continuously let suffering dictate our lives, and especially when something takes over us, takes over our mind, takes over our lives, it's hard for us to fight out of that suffering and pain, because everything seems so real in the mind. And this is something I really struggled with this year. The thoughts in my head, the constant explosions of emotions through me that have demanded from me that I really look at everything. And I've been through moments where I just couldn't control my emotions, couldn't control my mind, couldn't control anything, and I felt so lost. I started this kind of internal journey many years ago, but and when I started it, it was a similar process of really everything breaking and in the material world, and internally forcing me to look at things and demanding from me that I ask these questions. And in some ways I'm going through something similar, but in a deeper way and in a different way, but it's bringing me to a same place where in this moment today I really feel like I'm starting life from scratch. I don't know who I am. I don't know what all is it that I need to bring to this life, bring to this world. uh, what is it that makes sense in my daily life to be doing, to be bringing for myself and for humans, or for whatever, all these questions that are there, the purpose, meaning, blah 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 blah. On a superficial level I know the answers to this, but on a deep level my soul is at a place where it feels completely raw, completely unowned, completely um, um, completely the soul. It has no it's breaking all the attachments around it, around the roles, around the characters, and seeing them as something that I'm playing, something I've been playing, be it, you know and we all do this. We all have uh, we're all interacting in life in different ways. When we are with ourselves, we are different. When we are with an intimate partner, we are different. When we are with our friends, we are different. When we are with strangers, we are different. When we are with uh, people in a certain situation were different. So we are constantly changing, but who is it that is changing? It's not the soul or the consciousness. It's something that is outside of us, the different masks we have. And we all have it. And for me, this year has been about breaking those masks, breaking the acting, breaking the pretending. And it has been a painful process. Life has really demanded from me to really look at things that have triggered me, and being in an intimate relationship has triggered me so much, has challenged me so much to be looking at myself and really asking, who am I, and what is it that I want in life, and what is it that life is for. And but first, to getting to the answers to these questions, the who am I, instead of the characters I'm busy playing, I need to get in tune with that. And you know, this year has challenged me in so many ways through all of this inquiry, where I've a lot has changed in my life, with a new relationship, with marriage, with a lot of traveling, with pursuing new craft, new projects, and everything. But through all of it, internally, there has been this war, this carnage going on of a breaking of the structures, breaking of the conditionings, breaking of my whole ideas, breaking of my lineages, and just all forms of breaking, bringing me to a place where I am today, where I I really feel like I'm starting life from scratch. And it has happened in a very painful way, where last week's I got a neck spasm which went into my cervical, and I was on bed rest, and just deep pain, where even taking 8 painkillers, CBD oil, and smoking some hashish didn't help me in reducing my pain. It got to that point physically where I couldn't move for a few days, and was completely dependent on my wife for my well-being. And at the same time, I'm going through this internal process while this physical manifestation is happening of death, of this death of the ego. And this ego death is something I have been going through this whole year, which has demanded from me to look at who I am in all the aspects, who I am as a man, who I am as a person, what really are my values, what is life beyond all the duality, beyond all the good or the bad, what really makes sense, what really is driving us to be waking up from all of this. And depression, as I have understood from my understanding of it, of going through it this year, I have no shame in acknowledging that I've had huge mental health challenges this year. And what you would term as depression has been something that has come into my existence, into bringing me into forced states of deep rest by these injuries and by these energetic catharsis internally inside my body, inside my energetic body, and forcing me to really take deep rest from all this acting, from all these characters, from all this pretending that I've been doing along with everyone else that is around me, and living in this matrix of that acting and pretending and games and psychological subconscious warfares. And we all are doing it with intimate partners, with friends, with relationships, with everything, with ourselves. And once my soul recognized how deeply all of this was affecting me, it connecting with the universe has really brought me to the state of really just letting go of it all, letting go of my ideas of who I am, letting go of my attachments to all of that I've done till now, letting go of the perception I have of myself, others have of myself, my parents, my partner, my friends, followers, strangers, whoever have everybody has different perceptions of myself, and I am just simply tired of playing into those perceptions, including my own. And I just want to be present, and I don't want to be acting anymore. I just want to choose uh, joy and peace, which I still feel very distant from internally in many ways because of how my mind has complicated life into, even though life is simple. It's really just about being present. It's really just about not trying to control everything. It's about really letting go of these characters and trying to find our authentic self with whoever we are with, wherever we are, and live through that space and create through that space and share through that space if we want. And we don't have to live life seeking for validation. We don't have to live life trying to prove ourselves to others, our parents, or, you know, all these things, or trying to prove ourselves to our loved ones, or competing with somebody, and like all these things that are just concerning us and taking over us for no fucking reason. None of it makes sense, you know? None of it makes sense that we are constantly choosing to suffer. Our mind is constantly choosing to suffer. It's addicted to the pain. It's addicted to the suffering. It's addicted to the blaming, the comparisons, the psychological warfares, the all these things that are just containing us in these little boxes inside us, where we feel trapped, we feel frustrated, we feel annoyed, and eventually that leads to the states of depression, where your soul is tired of your superficial personas playing all these roles and characters all the time. It's just tired. That's basically what it's telling you, that you need to really look internally and ask yourselves, like, what is life? What really makes sense in your heart, in your soul? And I will tell you, like, I had no idea how I've gone through this year. And with all the tools I have, with all the understanding I have of the internal work, I have struggled so much. So I have realized that the struggle is real. Pain and the suffering, when it comes to us, it comes from all directions. But what makes a difference is our willingness to really wanting to break out of it, really wanting to accept that this is impermanent, that this shall pass. Pain and suffering in this moment, or in continuous moments for elongated periods of times, are not what define our path, our life. It's an aspect of our life which is helping us go into these states of what you would call depression, or I would say spiritual awakening, to really connect back to your soul and your internal being, and ask yourself in a very deep way what truly matters, and breaking down all the layers of superficiality and all these things to truly be with yourself as who you are, and then be with others as who you are, and everyone, you know. And it's hard, man. It's hard how superficial and into the matrix or into the system we have all become. Like our minds and our ego, it's all so complex, and you know, when it's connected with our traumas and our karmas and all these other variables, it's a complicated process. But yeah, we have to you know, I've I've had a lot of help this year in many ways, through universe, through guides. Um, um, Many things have supported me in this journey because I've genuinely asked for help in all directions, and I've accepted. A big part of this whole thing of breaking the ego is the ego denying the perception of you sorry ego denying the truth of you going through something that breaks the perception of how you are this strong, amazing person, who has done so many things, who has continues to write books and inspire people. But at the end of the day, like, humanity kicks in, and um, in a very deep way. And I really feel that I'm not sharing this with all of you for um, just for myself of sharing this for some reason, but I think I don't even know why I'm sharing this all, but I really feel that I am making some big changes in my life because of whatever has happened this year. All of that was flown into my direction. And the key element of that is to really be coming back into the present moment and living life with as much presence as possible, uh, simplifying things, and getting myself out of distractions, or not falling into the traps of escaping from things I need to look at, feelings I need to feel, no matter how terrible they feel. And I need to keep on observing them, and just observe them and know that it will pass. And yeah, and it's been, yeah, man, I have broken down a lot, and I have no shame in sharing any of this. I feel zero fear, I feel zero shame, I feel zero um, anything like what people will think about what I'm saying, and any of that, because it doesn't matter. you know all that matters is you connecting to yourself as who you are, and living with that place, and everything else around you will keep on happening the way it was happening anyways. So the choice is really just this, is when we are taken over by suffering and painful moments, or uncomfortable situations, and it's something that we feel like we're stuck in on a constant like trip. And it's like being on a trip, but it's just like lots of downs and some ups that keeps you going, and then lots of downs. And how do we find our balance with it? And I have to say that what I feel really helps through this time is just trying to empty the mind, just trying to become more present, and yeah, and finding the center no matter how hard it feels. And I want to break this taboo around mental health, uh, that mental health is bad, and people who are perceived as powerful and strong and blah 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 don't go through these things. uh, we all do. It's just how some of us are able to deal with it, and is able to look at it. Like, I don't look at depression as something bad. I've learned to look at it through this year as something that has really brought me to where I am sitting now internally, where I'm asking myself who I am underneath it all, and prioritizing my life into asking myself that and being present with that, to be trusting in universe that will provide the answers as I try to live in the moment, try to not give into the darkness inside me, but look at the darkness, let it all go, keep releasing, keep letting go, and be able to see the duality that there is, if there's darkness, there's also light somewhere. Even if we don't see it, it's somewhere. So, not getting taken over by darkness, to be connecting with the light and being able to navigate through both and finding our peace amongst all of it, while living in the spiritual and the material world. Um, yeah, it's been a crazy year, and I know many of you will relate to this, because of everything that's happening in the world, and things are amplified and expanded for many people, and people have been forced into these intense situations for elongated periods of time, to be life demanding them to really be doing the work on themselves, and finding their reasons for breathing in this body, and trying to understand the bigger picture of it all, and how we matter but we don't matter at the same time. What really matters is how we are choosing to let go of it all in becoming freer inside. And I can tell you this, man, like, money can be a great tool for all of this, and resources can be a great tool for all of this, but they're not the answer. And you can be living in a palace or not, and still be going through something like this. And in these moments, like when all the material world collapses in front of you internally, and you feel disconnected from everything and everyone and the whole system, including all the people as a whole, the only thing that keeps you in your soul is the God that's inside you. And my journey this year has been connecting with that God, or whatever you want to call it, whatever label you give it, spirit, consciousness, blah 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 blah. And it's hard sometimes, because when you get so blocked in all the aspects, you're not able to tune into that inner voice, even through all the meditations and all the things you're doing. Even I went to an ayahuasca ceremonies, and you tune into the inner voice, but somewhere in a daily life you're not able to do it, because the pains and the layers of your karmas become so strong that you're just consumed by that and taking care of that, and even that gets too much sometimes. So you're just smoking up sometimes just to feel numb, to not feel anything, which also I did sometimes. And it's getting out of it all, the physical, emotional, mental, and the spiritual, it's all connected always in some ways. And yeah, I don't know if any of this is making sense, maybe not. Probably a lot of people are thinking it's he's just blabbering, which I am. But yeah, man, life will demand from us sometimes that we go through all of this and really find that strength in us, because ultimately, like, it's gonna come down to us. And when I say that strength, I mean that connection with that deep space of purity that helps you heal through all of this, helps you release the spaces you're in internally, the situations you're in externally, finding forgiveness and empathy and authenticity, for everything you're going through, and acceptance for what may come, and letting go of the control of the present, of the future. Future specifically, because like that's what keeps us away from the present, where the healing, where the letting go happens, when you are truly life just happened through you, and you start acting as channels where things are just moving in a organic fashion. And yeah, I really hope this video touches some people and helps them in any way to break out of their bubbles, to seek help if you need. Have no shame, have no guilt, have no taboo about all of these topics. Don't feel inferior or insecure, or that you will be judged, because none of that matters if you are not able to get out of these zones. And getting out of these zones are very necessary to be able to acknowledge your true path, your true purpose, your true sense of being. And your purpose may not exist, which is also fine, but just being able to live in presence with our soul, without pretending and acting and all of those things, is very liberating. And even if it happens for some moments, it starts happening for some moments in our day-to-day, it gives us that strength that we can go through anything, and we have the choice to break out of the challenges life is throwing at us, and has thrown us at us all together. Because it usually works like that. What I realize is when one thing happens, it's like there can be a time where everything happens and comes to you at the same time. And when you're already in that state, the mind expands it even more, so you feel so overwhelmed. And it leads to abuse. It leads you to abuse things, substances or these kind of stuff, or people or situations or anything. And that abuse is just a manifestation of like self abuse, or or inability to understand what's happening, and it all starts kind of going, the Shakti, the energy starts moving in all directions. So finding that, creating that container to hold that energy, hold that Shakti, to really process and integrate and go through all of it is hard. So you have my empathy, because yeah, it's a lot. And but it's possible. And I really feel like in the specific moments I've been through this year, I really felt no hope. I felt alone. I felt not being able to connect with that God, so I felt like I was just swimming in a sea of darkness without being able to see any light whatsoever. And I was navigating through those spaces for elongated periods of time, especially when this injury thing happened over the last few weeks. I just was in that space while things are crazily moving inside my being. And I have to act like everything is okay, but I just can't do that acting anymore, where everything is okay, but it's not. And that's why all of this is coming out openly for public.